Joining me is Nationals frontbencher Barnaby Joyce, a former Deputy Prime Minister and Transport Minister. Barnaby Joyce, thanks for your time. Look, Catherine King is shifty and incompetent, but what do you think is the real scandal here that, you know, we're not getting to the heart of?
Well, your listeners could see it today, couldn't they? Any person watching it who's interested in politics, watching your show tonight, this story's had more starts than Randwick Racecourse. I mean, it's just incredible. But the only winner of this race is Qantas. And we have to ask why. If they have an issue, a moral issue with Qatar Airways and the treatment, the appalling treatment of those women, then why would you let any flights into Australia? You'd ban the whole lot. And even the Prime Minister came out and said, oh, you don't understand transport like I do. They could have more flights today, the bigger airplanes and more people coming in. Well, that's a funny way to treat a concern you have about women who've been mistreated. Are you saying, Prime Minister, that they're entitled to more flights? But your minister is saying they should have less people. The whole story is unfathomable, and it's also implausible, and they've been called out for it. I mean, and it's what happens in this crazy boarding school right there, that they get a crazy yarn. They think it's going to win because it worked in the tactics group that morning at 9:30. They peddle it out, and just like an airline that has massive failure in all four engines, bang, down she goes. So, you know, what is, you know, this is, the only people they're fooling now is themselves.
Look, if there is a good reason, why not just give it? Why not give it, you know, like 2 months ago? And we still haven't got it. It's just stunning to me. Now, the thing here, it raises another issue, Barnaby Joyce. Anthony Albanese is travelling overseas again, and he's decided on a rule that, you know, being overseas, he doesn't have to answer questions about politics back in Australia. Like, you know, Australia's a long way away. The carrier pigeon doesn't fly that fast. How could he possibly be on top of details back here? So he couldn't be questioned about this scandal. Very handy for him. Here he is today trying to rule out a question from our own Olivia Casely.
Last one.
Catherine King said that she spoke with colleagues prior to making Qatar
last one
Did she
on.
speak to you or seek her advice?
That is not
Do you still have confidence in the transport minister?
Come on. Of course I do.
Barnaby Joyce, a ban on questions about Australian politics when a Prime Minister's overseas. Does that make sense to you?
Not at all. I mean, how convenient. Look, I think he should have a look at pull out his business card from his wallet, have a look at it. Prime Minister of Australia. Oh, do I have a question about Australia? Maybe I should answer that. And as if he's not briefed, and it's just slippery, sneaky, you know, and people will read it, you know. He should have been earnest and said, OK, I'll take that question and look down the barrel. Even if he says, look, there are some issues here. I'm going to deal with them when I get back to Australia. Yeah, I have concerns. I don't know whether I've got the whole story yet, but I'm going to fix it up when I get home. And people would go, oh, yeah. You know, but when you try that rubbishy sort of, you know, because I'm in Indonesia, which is actually next door to Australia, I refuse to answer these questions because everyone knows what he's trying to do. He's got this big hook in his mouth and he's trying to yank it out and you know, go surfing in Bali and forget it, mate. You're on the hook.
It's weird. All the journalists with him were right on top of what the issues were in Australia. I don't know why the Prime Minister of Australia can't be. He's got a big enough staff to brief him. Barnaby Joyce, your National Party is holding this big conference on the weekend, your Federal Electorate Council in your seat in New England, or your former seat in New England. It's put a motion to scrap the net zero target that the Nationals backed very grudgingly, I must say. Does that motion have your support?
I think it's brilliant. Look, obviously my ultimate boss, the people who pre-select you, are the Federal Electorate Council of New England, and I will always respect the people of New England, and they have every right to bring this forward. And we have a huge problem in our area with transmission lines, with wind factories, solar factories, our whole, because we're the big res area. See, you get your virtue in Balmoral, where there's new native title claim over the local beach, by littering New England with wind towers and solar factories and overseas companies making a bucket load of money out of naive Australian people who pay for it in their power bill. And of course, the people of New England are rightly unhappy about this. Now, the source of this is an insane attachment to a target which under renewables you just cannot meet. We had Ontario, we had people representing...
Do you want the Nationals to drop that support? Do you want the Nationals to drop the support for zero net emissions?
Well, as a member of the National Party, I'll be very engaged with the debate, and I have great respect for what the Federal National Party Conference comes up with, and let's see which way they go. I'm not going to preempt their debate, but what I can say is once more the National Party is at the forefront of the national debate on key issues, and that's why so many people today are talking about what the National Party are going to talk about on the weekend.
Okay, well, I'll try and interpret that for the viewers. I think Barnaby Joyce is against the net zero thing. He was before, and he's kind of hoping that this motion will win. Barnaby, I hope I haven't done you an injustice.
You might say that. I could not possibly comment.
Barnaby Joyce, thank you for your time.